This episode of Film Riot is brought to you by Domain.com.
Today on Film Riot, we're talking about planning to shoot your short film that's run and gun using a thing called Shotlister.
And how to smuggle drugs in your butt!
No, it's not. That's not. What? Welcome to Film Riot, the show that how to hit reebity-ree.
And teaches you how to smuggle drugs through your butt.
We do not teach that. That's not a thing that we're going to teach.
Will.
We're not teaching it.
We're doing it.
We'll talk after this. Today, I figured I would show you how I use Shotlister to come up with my shot list each day for the short, sort of my pre-pro process for proximity, the only kind of pre-pro I did for the film, and we'll get into that, and then we'll probably hold off on proximity stuff until we actually show the film, since any kind of BTS stuff that we're going to show is going to give too much away of the film, since it's only 10 minutes and it moves pretty quickly, that we don't want to show that footage and kind of ruin the film for you guys, so we're going to hold that until we release the film, then release all the behind-the-scenes stuff. So this might be one of the last proximity episodes till we release that bad boy. Feel me?
And then booty drugs.
We're not doing boot bumper. So first things first, we open up the app by clicking on the icon like so and letting it open up. And as you can see in here, I have Outsiders and Proximity both in here, but they also have an Indiana Jones one that you can open up and take a look at as well. But for us, we're gonna create a new project. So I'm gonna click on the plus sign and call it whatever I want. Since I'm going to use the Tell script to show you guys this, I'm gonna call it Tell. And now we're inside of our project. We have nothing here yet, so we need to add a scene. So once again, we're gonna hit plus and add a scene. I'm going to do the garage scene here, so I'm gonna give it a nickname where I'm gonna say Find Saw. And now we're inside of our scene. So we have the name, Find Saw. Now we can enter the location, which is in the garage. And if you haven't seen Tell, you might maybe stop this and then go watch Tell. I mean, this doesn't really give anything away, but nonetheless, you know what I'm saying. Now this takes place interior, but you also have exterior and IE, which is interior, exterior. So if your scene moves from inside of the house or out to outside of the house, or if you're inside of a car or a truck and there's a back bed to the truck and people are on the back bed and the shot is moving in between those two things, you're moving in and out, you're gonna use IE for interior, exterior. Down, we're gonna put action, so description of the scene if we wanna do it. And then down here we have the details. First we go to number, click here, and we're gonna add what scene number we're on. Now, this script isn't actually labeled for shooting. This isn't the actual shooting script. This is the one that we sent out to people when we sold the Blu-ray. So I'm not really sure what number scene that is, but if it was a shooting script, you would see the sides would have the numbers of the scenes in order. So let's just assume that this is scene 14 and label it as such. So scene 14, time of day. This takes place at night. Page number, up here you can see it's page 14, so we're gonna toss that in there. Shooting day, we don't know yet since it's not scheduled. Page count, which is how much of the page your scene actually takes up, since pages are broken up into 1/8 on a page. So you could have a page and 1/8, a page and 2/8, or it could break down into just 8s on the page. Our scene, the garage, is about 2/8, so I'm gonna label it as such. But the very next scene actually takes up an entire page over here and about 2/8 of a page here. So I would say that this one is 1 2/8. But the garage scene is only 2/8, so we'll add that. Click done, move down again. Color, you can use this for labeling. We're not gonna use it. And cast numbers. This one's great because we can add our cast into here and then place them into the scenes that they need to be in, so we know when we're shooting. It's just another thing that makes it easy on the day, so you don't have to be constantly remembering all these things. If your script has several cast members, it's gonna help you to know who's needed and when. So you can come here, hit add new, then you enter the number of your cast member. This is just a number that references who they are. So let's just say 1 is Taylor. And he's the only one in the scene, so it's the only one we need to worry about, and we're gonna go ahead and add him to the scene. So now we're ready to start adding our shots, but before we do, we're gonna tab back real quick, and you can see that we have our scene all set up here, and this is where all your scenes will populate, and you'll be able to go into them and do all your shots for your scenes. And you can see it's scene 14, where he finds a Saul, interior garage night. It happens on page 14, it's 2/8 of the page, and we have cast member number 1, which we know is Taylor, in there, so we can see that all at a glance. So that's really helpful. But now to start adding the shots, the way we're doing it is going to be a little bit differently. What I did for Outsiders was to go through the script and to write out what shots I wanted to as I went and refine that, and then come in and start working with something like this. But since we didn't really have the luxury of time, the way I did this was to take the script alongside of my iPad and read the script and kind of edit it together as I was reading. As I was reading it, I was watching at the same time, and I would make up the shots that I would need inside of Shotlister while I read it. So I have here, Taylor walks in, black bag in hand. He flips the light on that illuminates a corner of garage where the garbage bags are kept. Now, right away, I'm already thinking that I don't want to shoot it that way. Obviously, we've shot tell, so I already know what I want. I want a shot of the garbage can. Taylor comes in, drops a bag in. We move up to him. We do all that in one shot. Really help us on the day too. So I'm gonna hit the plus, give it a nickname. I'm gonna say cans. And now we have our first shot that we can start filling out. But as you can see, there's just a ton of stuff on there that I don't want, especially with a run and gun shoot. I do not need half this stuff. So we can hit the cog up here and decide what we want to display up here, what makes sense. I'm not gonna need color or prep or setup or cam or flag. I will need VFX, but I don't need special effects. I'm gonna take off light, size, nickname. I'm gonna keep description. I'm gonna keep gear. I'm gonna take off lens and user, and that just takes us down to the absolute bare minimum of what we need. So for what we're doing with this run and gun, I don't need all that detail. I just need something that's gonna remind me of the shots that I wanted and keep me on track later. So I want it to be very, very simplistic so I can look at it at a glance and know exactly what I need to do so I can move fast. So now we're gonna go to description. I'm gonna pop in MCU of Garbage Can Crane to MCU of Taylor, looking at Saw, and then if you go down, you have some details you can add, like link with next, which we're not gonna use this because we're a single cam unit. What linking the shots are is when you have an A and a B cam, so you could have two cameras shooting the exact same thing at the exact same time, not the exact same shot, two different shots, but that same moment is being shot at the same time. You can link those shots, but again, we're a single camera shoot, so we don't need to worry about that. There's no VFX in this shot, but there is a piece of gear we need to remember, so we'll click on gear, hit crane, and there we go. Now if we go back, our shot's in there. It reminds us of what the shot was. It's that MCU that moves up to an MCU of Taylor, and we know we need a crane. So now we can add in another shot, and I'll read further on the script. The lid opens, can comes off, Taylor shoves the bag in, his eyes drift up to catch something. So these two are already taken care of in one shot. We can move on. On the wall in front of him is a tool rack. Hung in the center of the rack is the hacksaw. So then we move on. We have the lid to one of the can comes off, Taylor shoves the bag in. We have all of that. So these first two are completely done in one shot, which is great. But next we talk about on the wall, we see the saw that Taylor's actually looking at. So we're gonna add another shot. We're gonna say saw, we're gonna save it. And then we're gonna put our description, which is going to be, let's do a MS of the saw, push into a close-up of the saw. And then again, details, link with next, no, VFX, no, but gear, yes, we know we're gonna need a dolly. So we'll pop that in there, and now we have two shots done. Then we move down, Taylor's eyes are focused, he knows what he'll do, and you know what? I have that in the MCU. I'm already on a crane, so I could just push in a little bit and have this all in one shot. So we just do two shots and we cover the entire scene, which is really gonna help us with a run and gun sort of thing. And this is pretty much how I did the entire planning for proximity. I would just go through each scene, set it up like this, and as I read it, I would do my shots, then I would go through it again at the end to see if there were any shots that were redundant that I could delete because I had it in one. And then once I was done with that, I was able to go into the scenes and schedule, which we'll talk about in a second after we pay some bills. If you need a website of any kind, if you're a filmmaker, if you're trying to promote yourself on the interwebs, domain.com is the place to go to do that thing exactly of what I was just saying. You can get yourself a .net. Infuse your website with credibility, get a .com and a .net same time. You're just all over the interwebs. You're owning that MF. Am I right?
You're right on so many occasions, Riot.
Really?
No.
That's a change from things
yes.
that you usually say to me. And it's super affordable. $8.99 a year. You use coupon code FilmRiot. You even slash that and add down more. You get 15% off when you use that coupon code. So you can get your domain name, your web hosting from domain.com. Use that coupon code. Get 15% off because when you think domain names, that was beautiful.
Logo.
So at this point, we've listed out all of our shots, which for this scene is a total of 2 shots, but usually will be far more shots than this. So now it's time to start scheduling of how we want to shoot it for that day. So we're going to go over here and we're going to click shoot day. We're going to pick the day that we want to shoot it on. Let's say we want to shoot it on Halloween. We're going to nickname this crazy day because we have so many shots to do. And the cool thing is you can set your call time, your lunch time, and your wrap time, which we'll just leave it as is, and then you come in and you're ready to start adding shots in. So I'm gonna click the plus sign. Since we only have 1 scene done so far, that's the only one that shows up, but we would have a lot of scenes here and we would be able to select which scenes we would want to do. You hit 1, you go in, you see all the shots that you have set up inside of that scene. Again, we only have 2. We're going to select them both, click done, and it populates them inside of your shoot day. Now at this point, I could start arranging how I want the shoot day to go. So if I click this pencil and we had a ton of other shots, not just 2, I can drag them around to what order I want to shoot everything for that day. So say you have a dialogue scene between 2 actors, say it's Todd and Josh, and they're sitting on either side of a table and they're talking, and I have a long shot, medium, and close-up shot of each of the actors. So each of the actors has 3 shots. You're not going to shoot it to where it starts here, then we move over to here, and then we get Josh's side, then we move over to here and we get Todd's medium shot, and then we move over there and we get Josh's medium shot. You're going to set everything up that's going to be on Todd from one side. And once you're done with all 3 of those setups, then you move over. So that's how I would arrange it. All Todd's stuff first, then all of Josh's stuff. And when you're scheduling your first day, another thing you're gonna wanna keep in mind is to try to start with the easiest stuff that you can so you and your crew can get in the swing of things and you're not killing yourself right off the bat and your crew, because people might end up not wanting to come back if everything gets really sloppy. They are doing this for free, so keep that in mind. Try to feather everyone into it, but it's easy enough to move things around and decide what order you wanna shoot things. Once you have it there, you click done. And now you could start setting time. So we start at 7 a.m. That means I'm getting to this location with everyone at 7 a.m. Now the actors have to get in the wardrobe, they have to get their makeup done, we have to get all the gear set, and before we get off our first shot. So I'm gonna feather in a lot of extra time into my first shot. I'm gonna ramp it up to, let's say, about 100 minutes there, and I'm gonna click save. So now we got 1 hour and 40 minutes to get our first shot off, and we don't get to our second shot till 8:40 already, we can see here. Then I click here and I set time for this, and this one, let's say, will take me about 20 minutes since I gotta move some lighting, I gotta move the gear around to get the shot. It's a pretty simple shot, so we should be able to nail it with all the moving around in about 20 minutes. I'm gonna click save, and now if we had more shots, we would continue like this. But the cool thing about Shotlister, which I'll show you by jumping in an Indiana Jones one since there's more shots here, is once you have all of them set up and all their times set up, you can click start to start your day, and it's going to show you in real time where you're at. Right now we're on schedule, but if we were to move past it, it would slip into the red and show you how far you are behind. So at this point, you can start deciding to delete shots and move things around to make sure you're going to make your day. And I did this by color coordinating shots that I wanted, a certain color for the ones that I know I absolutely needed, a certain color for wish list shots, and it made it a lot easier to be able to just delete shots that I knew I didn't absolutely need so we could keep up on our day. Now, I told you guys there was a lot of times where I actually had to throw out the shot list, where this ended up becoming not a scheduler for me anymore, but just something to remind me of the ideas of the shots that I needed to have. So I had someone just there looking through it as we shot, reminding me of, you wanted an MCU of this, you wanted a CU of that, which was really helpful too. And sometimes we couldn't even look at this, but setting this up ahead of time, as I told you before, gave me a good idea and a foundation to be able to make up the shots as I went along. But that's a basic overview of Shotlister and how I used it to keep track of my shots on this production. Now, this isn't how you would do a proper production like Outsiders or something like that, but I found that this process works really well when you're doing run and gun. It helped me stay on track and reminded me of all the shots that I needed to do, even when I couldn't follow it scheduling wise. But if you don't have an iPad, I mean, if you do have an iPad, there's really no reason not to get this. It is super affordable. But if you don't have an iPad or an iPhone, then you could just do it right in your script. When I'm doing it right in the script, I'll just take a pen or pencil and I'll write those exact same shots inside of the script next to the pieces of script that I want those shots to coincide with, and then I have someone follow along that way. But since I do have Shotlister, what I do inside my script instead is write story and theme ideas or different small nuances that I want to happen as a director throughout the piece, and I have somebody else holding onto the script, reading along with the pieces that we're shooting to keep me reminded of all the things that I wanted to do, since when you're doing run and gun, you're gonna forget those little nuances, like you wanted your actor to look over here and then back for a certain reason, because that's gonna tell us as an audience something later. So I'll write that in there, little emotional things to have them keep track of as we go. But I like to use both of them, Shotlister and the emotional and story elements that I write into my script, both being handled by different people to remind me as we shoot. Since we're shooting so fast, this again helps me keep in mind that initial intention that I wanted when I was planning that morning before we started shooting, since you're usually gonna be planning that night or that morning if you're doing something this intense. And the whole process for me is trying to find organization in the madness. This might not work perfectly for you, but maybe it sparks an idea that you can try, because I think everybody will need their own sort of process when doing this kind of shoot, because it is really chaotic and you need something that works for you. But that's so far what has worked best for me. But that is it for today. Definitely check out Shotlister at this link right here. We're actually giving away 10 free copies of Shotlister in the latest Monday challenge, along with a bunch of other insanely awesome prizes. So check out the last Monday episode to find more about the Monday challenge that we're doing for that. It's a Halloween specific Monday challenge, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. But that's it for today. You can follow me on Twitter to ask me any questions you may have about scheduling the shots for your film, and I'll see you guys next week.